Hey, it's Amy with a Farmish kind of life where we keep homesteading honest and hilarious in the barn, the garden, and the kitchen. Today I am part of the 10 Questions for Homesteaders collaboration that was started by Kettle Farms. I was tagged by Chris from Rockin 8 Farms. Awesome guy that I have had a great time getting to know. He is doing a really awesome seed starting setup, experimenting with some of that stuff, and so you should definitely go check that out. He's gonna iron out all the details and make all the mistakes, and then he's gonna tell me how to do it, because I'm in Minnesota and he's in Texas, and so he needs to get this stuff going before I do. I am going to try not to trip on all these cats that are winding around my legs, and I'm gonna start getting these questions answered for you. Come along. Question number 1. How did you end up to be a homesteader? That's a really great question. If you would have asked me when I was in high school, I would have told you I was going to be an actress. I spent a lot of time in theater, being in shows. That was kind of like, that was where I was going to go. And yet I always had this like split personality thing going on. She has split personalities. So while I like to be on stage and I like to act and sing and dance and do all of that, I also was that kid who would hang out in the woods. We had 12 acres of woods where I grew up. I would go out there and I would build forts and I would pretend I was living on my own and I was a survivor. I was also the kid who liked to hang out in antique shops. I liked family history. I liked considering what life was like back then. I loved old cartoons like Little Audrey and things like that. Old movies, like I always kind of felt like I was born in the wrong time period. I was kind of that person who wanted to escape to an Amish farm and just kind of hang out in their hayloft. They wouldn't know I was there. I wouldn't cause any trouble, but you know, like things like that. And so here I was this person, like I was going to be this stage actress, but then I also kind of had this fantasy of being this 1940s housewife where I was just like taking care of the house and living in the kitchen and like doing all the barn chores and all that. So eventually this simple part of me won out. And in 2011, we moved to this farm. I just really craved the simple life. I craved that self-sufficiency. There's something about me that really has a drive for when I know that there's something you can do yourself, that you don't have to rely on anybody else for it, you should do it yourself. So whether that's the meat that you eat, the vegetables, anything you can provide for yourself, I'm really drawn to do that. And so I think the natural thing is to become a homesteader. So here we are. Question 2. What's one thing you hope to add to your homestead in 2020? We've actually been at this farm since 2011. We've had a lot of things here that we thought we were going to like that we realized this is not our thing. Horses and goats would be one of those things. There's also been a lot of things we brought here that, you know, we were like, nah, I don't know if this is going to work, and then it ends up being our favorite things. Like pigs. I was a person who didn't want to have pigs, and now pigs are my absolutely favorite thing that we have on the farm. But if I was going to pick one thing that I want to add to our homestead in 2020, I would say building a smokehouse. We do a lot of smoking, and right now we just have a little electric smoker, and it works great, but it just can't keep up with all the stuff that we're trying to do. And so we've wanted to build a smokehouse for a while, and I think that this is the year we're finally going to be able to do it. So I'm excited for that to happen. I think it's really going to up our game with what we can do with all the meat that we raise here, and I love smoked meat. Question 3. What's one of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn on the homestead? Absolutely, that you're not in charge. You can make a lot of plans, you can sketch it out, you can like do all the, like this is what we're going to do, da 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 da, you can make lists, you can do all that. You very quickly realize you are not in charge. That's really what I learned here. As definitely a perfectionist, and if I made a plan and it didn't go as planned, that was really hard on me. And when I moved to the homestead, I had to realize your plans are merely suggestions. You're not in charge of what happens. Question 4. What's my favorite chore on the homestead? I like all of them. If I really, really didn't like a chore, I would make it so we didn't have to deal with that on the farm anymore, whether it was a chore with a certain animal or something we've taken on the farm that we've decided this isn't a thing we want to do anymore. But I actually really like doing dishes by hand. I don't know why. There's just something about like doing dishes and you have time to think and, you know, stare out the window at the field and you just contemplate life. I don't know, I've always liked to do dishes by hand. We do have a dishwasher and I only use it during canning season. Another chore that I would say that I really like on the farm, and it probably sounds really weird to say this, don't think I'm totally crazy. Oh my God, she is so weird. Another chore that I like on the farm is actually butchering day. And I know that sounds really weird to say, but any chore that is, it brings about the end of, you know, like, look at what we did. Look at all the work that we did. We raised these animals on our farm, we processed them here ourselves, and now they're in the freezer, and now they are going to feed our family. I still think that it's one of my favorite things on the farm, because it's really that thing where you're like, look, we did this, and we did the whole process, and now it's done, and our freezer is full. Question 5. What's your favorite thing to grow? I really love rhubarb. The reason I love rhubarb, it's the very first thing to pop out of the ground in Minnesota. And if you're in Minnesota and winter takes forever, that first time you see something pop out of the ground that you can eat, you're like, praise the baby Jesus. This is amazing. I also love growing tomatoes. Tomatoes are so amazing to grow. And here's the crazy thing. I don't eat them, or I should say I don't eat raw tomatoes. I love making stuff with tomatoes. Spaghetti sauce, salsa, ketchup, all the things. I also love squash. I could live on squash. I could eat squash every single day. Any kind of squash. I'm all about the squash. Question 6. What do I love most about the homesteading community? They're really a group of people who loves to learn. Like, so many of us did not grow up as homesteaders, and so we have to learn from each other. Right. We have to learn from each other. And hello, we have to learn from each other. Okay. What I really love about the homesteading community, for the most part, is that they're willing to share what they know, and they're willing to admit their mistakes. And I think that's really important, because we can learn a lot from other people's mistakes. I also love that for the most part, people have figured out that homesteading is different depending on where you live, depending on what kind of homestead you have. Different things are going to work for different people, and so it's not like a cut and dry, this is how it's going to work for everybody. And it's just really great to be part of a community that's willing to help each other, willing to listen to each other, willing to help each other find out answers for questions that everybody has. So I wish more communities were like that. Number 7, what's my favorite meal that I make? I gotta tell you, anytime I look at my plate and I'm like, all that came from the farm, or most of that came from the farm, you know, if it's breakfast and, you know, the eggs are from the coop, the bacon is from the pigs we raised, and toast is from bread that I made from scratch. That, like, I love looking down at my plate and seeing that. I also love any meal that we can share with other people. I love cooking for other people. I love baking for other people. The kitchen is one of my favorite places to be. I would have been an amazing 1940s housewife. I love the kitchen. Having said that, I make a really mean fried chicken, mashed potatoes, glazed carrot, homemade buns, and carrot pie. Now I'm hungry. Number 8, what's my favorite holiday? Does deer hunting count as a holiday? Bear hunting, duck hunting, goose hunting, pheasant hunting. We like to hunt here. If I had to pick a traditional holiday, it would definitely be Halloween. In fact, Halloween is such a big deal here. We take the whole month of October and we have renamed it Spooky Month. Question number 9. Is your homestead where you intend to settle permanently, or are you looking to create a new one elsewhere? Y'all, I know I'm not in charge of where life takes us, but if it was up to me, I would be here forever. It took us a long time and a lot of headache and tears and frustration to get to this magical place with the big red barn that has been so wonderful for us. And so if it's up to me, I'm gonna stay here forever. Question 10. Who are some homesteaders that you enjoy following and learning from? Y'all, there are so many homesteaders out there who are sharing their lives with YouTube and with social media and all the different places that we can share about it. And it's just amazing when you sit down and start going through all the people out there who are sharing about their lives and doing this homesteading thing. And so to try and name like all the people that I watch and follow and learn from would be impossible. And I would feel bad because I would be afraid I'd forget somebody. But what I will say, I will tell you some of the people that I have been watching a lot lately. So I would encourage you to go out and check their channels out. And before I get to that, I am supposed to tag 3 people in this little collaboration. Any of the people that I mention, if you haven't done this collaboration yet, consider yourself tagged. But if you are also watching this video and you have a YouTube channel, you have a homesteading thing that you want to share with people on YouTube, consider yourself tagged. There are so many people who are doing this collaboration and so many people that are filming right now that it's hard to figure out, okay, who can I tag that hasn't been tagged yet? But some of my favorite channels that I have been watching lately, I already mentioned Rockin Farm, who was kind enough to tag me in this collaboration. Chris is a great guy. Make sure you go out and check his channel. He is very supportive of people within the homesteading community, so that's great. We all need that. I also enjoy Bare Bottom Acres, Small Scale Gardening, The Mindful Homestead, MiAnU Acres, Schick Happens, Nate's Mountain Homestead, No Dough Acres, The Heath Stead, and Of Little and Light. Those are channels I've been watching a lot lately. There are a million channels out there. There are so many. Take some time and just check out Homesteading on YouTube. You will find so many great channels. The channels that I really enjoy on YouTube aren't necessarily big or small or have been around for a long time or just starting out. I really like when I watch a YouTube channel, when there's someone who's really passionate about homesteading and really excited about the opportunity to homestead and all the things that they can do with that, and they just like are on fire to share that with you. That's when I get really excited about a YouTube channel and just people's personalities showing through and just really cool things that they're sharing about their homestead. So that's what I have to share today. Check out these channels that I mentioned. Go ahead and subscribe to mine if you're not. Click the little dingy bell so you know when I'm going to have a new video coming out. And it's been fun. Let's hang out again soon, shall we?